There's this moment right before a person's fight for survival really begins where it feels like everything is already over. It's this quiet space deep inside you. All the noise of the world just fades. And the only thing you can hear is the sound of your own heart pounding in your ears. And in that quiet, your body just wants to stop, right? Every single instinct is screaming at you that it's over, that you should just give up. But sometimes something else, something deeper inside, just refuses to listen. Look, these aren't myths or some kind of Hollywood story. These are real stories about real people. People who found themselves in situations where survival, well, it should have been impossible. And yet, they made it. So our first story, it doesn't start with chaos or terror. It actually starts with an almost perfect stillness. Imagine it. The air is crisp, absolutely still. There's no sound, no warning at all that anything is wrong. And then, just like that, the ground beneath your feet is gone. Just this violent, deafening roar that swallows everything. He's dragged under, spun around, crushed by the weight of it all. And then, nothing. Just silence. And a darkness so complete, it's like he's blind. The weight, it's just unbearable. Every breath he takes is a little bit smaller than the last one, and panic, real panic, starts to set in. Now he knows he only has minutes before he'll lose consciousness. He has to do something. So he forces himself to slow his breathing, to fight the panic. And in that suffocating silence, he remembers this little trick he heard about once. So he spits. It sounds strange, I know, but in that total disorienting blackness, gravity is the only thing that's real. The saliva, it drops downward. And that tiny little movement tells him everything he needs to know. It tells him which way is. His fingers are already going numb, but he starts clawing, digging. For a second, he thinks about just stopping, just letting go. But then his hand breaks through the surface, cold air rushes in. 18 minutes. Can you believe that? He was buried alive for 18 minutes. When rescuers found him, they said it shouldn't have been possible. Okay, so our next story, it's a completely different kind of challenge because the ocean is patient. It doesn't need to rush. It just waits. His boat capsizes, and all he can do is grab onto whatever debris is floating by as the waves just pull him further and further away from everything. During the day, the sun is just relentless, burning his skin until it blisters. And then the nights bring this deep, bone-chilling cold, and underneath him, in the dark water, he can see the silent shapes of sharks just circling. By day 3, severe dehydration starts to take over, and that leads to confusion, to organ failure. His tongue is swollen. He starts seeing things, hallucinations that whisper promises of rescue ships that just aren't there. Then, on the 5th day, rain. It actually starts to rain. He holds his shirt open, just trying to catch every single drop, wringing the water into his mouth. 7 days go by like this, and then, way out on the horizon, he sees a shape. He's sure it's just another illusion, but he waves anyway. He has to try. And this time, the ship turns. The explosion, it just came out of nowhere. A violent blast, and then instant, total darkness. The air was so thick with dust, you couldn't breathe. He could hear the screams of the other miners echoing, and then they just faded away into silence. And now he's trapped, almost a mile underground. The air is getting thin. There's almost no water, and of course, no sunlight at all. In a place like that, time itself it stops having any meaning. So yeah, the physical threats were obviously very real, but the true battle that was happening inside his head, the silence, it was almost worse than the darkness. The complete isolation, that was the real enemy. So to fight it, to stay sane, he just started talking out loud, into the emptiness. He told himself stories. He sang whatever songs he could remember, even just fragments of them. He started scratching marks onto a rock, trying to count the days, even when his hands were shaking so badly he could barely make a line. And then, on the 12th day, a new sound cut through that crushing silence. A vibration, a drill. Sometimes survival is about one instant of chaos, and other times it's a long, grinding battle against complete emptiness. Take this fire. The whole thing was over in seconds. The sound of screaming metal. Smoke just floods the cabin. The exit's blocked, and he can see the flames closing in. But instead of just panicking, running blindly, A simple fact pops into his head. Heat rises. So he drops to the floor, covers his face, and follows the cooler air right along the ground, inch by inch, until he's out. And then there's this other ordeal, which was just painfully slow. His car breaks down in the desert. No signal, of course. During the day, the heat is just this physical weight crushing down on him. At night, the cold makes him shake so violently he can't stop. By the fourth day, hope is really starting to fade. He's actually beginning to accept that this is it, that it's over. And then he sees it. Just a tiny bit of movement. A single cloud of dust on the horizon. It's a truck. So when you look at all these stories, the avalanche, the ocean, the mine, the fire, they all point to one single, really powerful truth. The thing is, survival isn't about being fearless. I mean, who wouldn't be afraid? It's about refusing to stop even when everything inside you is telling you it's over. These people didn't survive because they were superhuman or had some special power. They survived because, in their absolute darkest moment, they made a choice. The choice to take just one more breath, to make one more movement, to try one more time. And sometimes, that one single choice, made again and again and again, well, sometimes that's all it takes. That's enough.